cape.
Welcome Wargamers, this is Doug, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Start Collecting Malignant Box as we continue our review of the Start Collecting Box series. So let's dig in. Alright, so the Start Collecting Malignants Box comes with 1 Mortis engine, 3 Spirit Hosts, and a 1 unit of 5 Hexwraiths. Okay, so a few things here. One, this box contains 2 multi-kits, so you'll get the Mortis engine can also become a Coven Throne, which is a Soul Blight thing. It has a bunch of ladies, a bunch of vampire ladies. It makes it a hero. It's still a large multi-wound thing. It also makes it a wizard, so that's important to know if you choose to go that route. And then the Hexwraiths can also turn into Black Knights for Skeleton Warriors. So I want to get those out of the way. You do get a lot of bits. You can do quite a few things with the leftover bits from the Mortis engine and the Coven Throne, so just keep that in mind. Now the second thing to keep in mind is that this is one of those few Start Collecting boxes that take from multiple sub-factions. This is going to be a unfortunately reoccurring theme in the Death Start Collecting boxes and faction as a whole, because you see the Mortis engine is from the Death Mages sub-faction, and the Spirit Hosts and the Hexwraiths are from the Night Haunt. This means that they don't have any keyword bonuses together because it's not from one sub-faction. Of course, you can still take the Grand Alliance Death, and that's perfectly fine. There's lots of great rules there for them. But as of right now, because GW hasn't fleshed out a lot of those sub-factions in Death, they only have the Flesh Eater Courts as a battle tome, a lot of it feels disjointed, to be honest. Now, the box weighs in at 460 points, which is a great deal. And I will go by the units one by one here. First up here, we're looking at the Mortis engine. So he is a necromancer riding a huge ghost throne, essentially, with a sarcophagus behind him. And once per game, he gets to do a huge bomb where he just blows up this like necromantic energy and hurts everything around him. Now, a lot of people will tell you that it's not very effective. I disagree. I have wiped out several units while playing this thing. When I first started Age of Sigmar, I had a large death army. I've since sold it off, but this thing is just unbelievable, balls to the wall good. Okay, so like you put this thing where it needs to be. It's super fast, relatively speaking. It goes over things. It can bolt down the field, land where it needs to, detonate the bomb. Of course, it's in your hero phase, so you do have to take a round of attacks in return. But, you know, for the ability to just like tie up, gum up, and distract the enemy, there's nothing better than it, okay? I really don't think so. Next up is the Spirit Hosts. Spirit Hosts, they have this cool thing. I love the ethereal models because they ignore rend. Okay, which means any hard-hitting unit that relies on rend to do its damage rather than weight of attacks is going to be at a severe disadvantage. They don't move particularly fast. They do ignore terrain, so that does help, you know, speed in a relative sense that they can get where they want to be with ignoring things in the way. Like I said, they're only battle line though if you take the Night Haunt sub-faction, which excludes the Mortis engine and the Coven Throne. So that's something to consider. You will need something more basic to fill that role if you want to use them. And the last thing is the Hexwraiths. These are the ethereal form of cavalry. So they're like these ghosts that ride ghost horses and do ghost things. And so they ride into combat. They ignore terrain in the way. They are probably, they do quite a bit of damage on the charge. And then after that, they don't really do a whole lot. They're not the most effective in combat. What they do really well, though, is that if you pass over a model with them over an intervening model, that model does take a roll to see if it takes a mortal wound. So they can do a lot of things. A common theme that you're going to see with the Night Haunt stuff is not doing good regular damage, but really being heavy. Everything can dish out a mortal wound. Like everything can do that. So it's really, really interesting when you start thinking, my odds are pretty crappy, but if I take a lot of any particular unit that does mortal wounds, and if your opponent doesn't have saves against them, you're going to see yourself chewing through their army faster than they are prepared for, simply because they have no defense. So in totality, what you get is 3 units that, sub-faction-wise, don't work together. They do really well Grand Alliance-wise. What's weird is that the Mortis engine, that he doesn't fill the role of the hero that you need. He is a great unit, but maybe not for this select group of models. And I think that's why a lot of people suggest you go with the Coven Throne. You get a hero, you get a wizard, and they can do all kinds of crazy stuff. Their spells aren't really that effective, but you get a hero and a wizard, and since everything is summonable, it gives you options. And that's true. What I would say is, if you wanted to stick with the Death Grand Alliance, right, take it as a whole, what I would really say is build the kit exactly as it shows on the box. Okay? Then, with your next purchase, I would say grab the Skeleton Hordes box. We're going to talk about that in the next video. I'm planning on releasing them at the same time for this exact reason. They're so intertwined because in this one, you get the option to build kind of a crummy wizard in the Coven Throne. I mean, it's a lot of wounds, but as far as wizards being able to wizard, they're not very effective, okay, just to be honest. If you build what it is, though, like as the Mortis engine, Spirit hosts, and the Hexwraiths, and then you take the Skeleton Horde box to fill in the gaps, you get Archon, which is a fantastic wizard specifically for summoning death stuff. He gets like a +2 modifier on it, so like you don't have a chance of summoning, you're gonna summon it, okay? So you get him, who's a BA wizard, and then also you can build those Black Knights in that box as Hexwraiths, so now you have a Mortis engine dealing a ton of mortal wounds. I promise it's going to happen. You're going to delete a unit with this thing blowing up. A really powerful centerpiece model in Archon, who's a great summoner of spirit hosts, and you have 10 now Hexwraiths and a unit of skeleton warriors. Everything but Archon and the Mortis engine are summonable, and everything has the tools that it needs to succeed in some way. But let's say you want to stick with the ethereal theme, which is kind of less than a subfaction theme. I think the aesthetic of the ethereal stuff is really the main goal of this box, right? Because the Mortis engine looks very ethereal with the ghost carrying it. That's awesome. You're a cool person for doing that. It's something that I actually plan on doing myself in the future, is sticking with purely ethereal Nighthaunt stuff. If you're going to go that route, I would say invest heavily in Hexwraiths, Banshees. It's hard to say, because here's the conundrum you're in, right? If you go exclusively Nighthaunt, you have no way to summon things, which is a detriment because everything is summonable, and that's what you want, right? You want things to be summoned. It's your major advantage. It's your unfair advantage in Death to be able to summon things. If you stick with that subfaction to get Spirit Host as your battle line, though, you're missing out on that opportunity to do that until they get a battle tome with some new options for summoning. So I'm going to be honest and very clear. It's an uphill battle if you want to stick that way. If you want to stick with the ethereal theme and still be Grand Alliance, the Mortis engines, the Coven Throne is fantastic. It is a very cool model. It does have the same ethereal things going below it, so you can do these vampiresses, summoning all kinds of nightmare ethereal stuff like that. That absolutely fits theme wise, and if that's what you're going for, build the Coven Throne. Absolutely, 10 out of 10, do it. That would be my suggestion, because then you would still need to find some other low troop to be your battle line, since Spirit Hosts don't qualify. But you can do that pretty easily. I mean, 3 units of Skeleton Warriors, and you've got a 2,000 point battle line requirement met, and you can do the rest with Spirit Hosts. Why not? Use the Skeletons as objective holders, use the Spirit Hosts as everything else. As I'll go into it, the Skeleton Horde box, the key to success with the Malignant army is to focus on the things that you're good at, okay? Play to your strengths. I say this a lot with the demons as well, okay? Summoning is your ally. You have an ability that most armies do not. You got to take advantage of it. Being able to have a wizard up the field and then summon something 18 inches up further is phenomenal. Think about ways to capture objectives, tie up enemy units, block your important pieces. Got to keep a keen eye out for ways that you can use alternate deployment, like summoning, as a way to get an unfair advantage over your opponent. Secondly, if you're going to go this route, I really do recommend you give some serious thought on mortal wounds versus normal wound damage output, okay? What am I saying? I'm saying capitalizing on your ability to deliver mortal wounds reliably is going to be an advantage that you have that many other armies do not. You got to think of ways to maximize it, okay? If you can dump 6 mortal wounds on a model, okay, which model would it be? Think about that as you're plowing the Mortis engine down someone's nose, right? who do you want to kill? Because if you kill key synergy pieces in the enemy army, they can fall apart. Even though you don't have the greatest strength, like martial strength, you can make their synergy chain fall apart by the right application of mortal wounds, because there's very few things that resist it so well. If you're looking for models that complement the malignant stuff, I do think that the death rattle, which is the skeletons, going back to the Skeleton Horde thing, complement it very well. Here's the reason why is if you're going to combine the two, you get access to wizards because you're going to Grand Alliance anyway. You might as well take Archon. Skeletons are dirt cheap, and here's the thing: they have ways of producing enormous amounts of regular wounds. So now you have regular wounds, mortal wounds, right? You're combining your two strengths into one army. Again, you have to be very cautious about how you apply those forces, right? Throw your skeletons up front, let them absorb damage because they probably absorb damage better. Let them dish it out to the normal troops. You can fly over your own army and the enemy lines with all of your ethereal stuff and deliver the mortal wounds where they need to be on the back of the enemy line. When you factor in that that's your sole strategy and your ability to summon things as you wish, wherever you want, obviously depending on your the rules upon summoning, you can do quite a bit of damage to the right places at the right time, and that's really what the Death Grand Alliance is trying to do at this point. One last note I want to say is if you bought this box, or if you're looking at buying this box, it is a great decision. There's some cool looking things. Some of the most iconic things about Death faction are in this box, whether you build a Coven Throne, the Mortis engine, the Black Knights, the Hexwraiths, it doesn't really matter. These great high fantasy tropes about death and necromancers and that, they're all in there, and they all look fantastic. They're super fun to build, and it's a great choice no matter what. I know it's probably not the most competitive faction right now. However, it is one of the most fun, which is why people keep on playing it. So keep that in mind. I hope this video has been helpful for you. If you'd like to check out the Start Collecting box here, you can find it here on Amazon. You can click the store down below, and you can check it out there. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support me as a content producer, if you click the store down below and buy something, you'll be directed to Amazon for payment so that they will take your credit card securely, and they'll make sure everything is delivered with tracking numbers for you. I get a small cut of all sales, which goes to support me directly as a content producer. Right now I'm saving up for a new camera, if that means anything to you at all. Thank you so much for watching, and happy wargaming.